Hey guys, this is Mark again with My Whistling Flute, and I wanted to just share again with you one of the flutes that I have put together down in my workshop as a reminder that it is not necessary to spend hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars on an instrument. That it's my opinion that you can have a pretty cool sounding instrument, an open keyed flute, with materials that are readily available to you either at your local hardware store or in the case of what I like to do, Amazon.com. So here's an example of that. This is a new flute that I had that I made. It's tuned to itself, relative tuning, so it's not concert pitch, but it's tuned to itself in a harmonic minor key. And I use an etching process using copper sulfate to etch this beautiful stallion into the flute, and some designs there. Again, this is just what I liked to see. The head of the flute is made from half-inch black PVC from a company called FormuFit. But it's half-inch PVC, just like the white PVC that's made in the store, and could be used with white PVC. What I do here to join it is some people talk about dipping PVC into paint thinner or acetone. And over time, that softens up the PVC and turns it rubber-like, and then you can force it down on there. Not only does that take a long time, but different acetones don't work as well as others. I found a way that I very much prefer, and that's by using a heat gun. And I just use a heat gun to heat up a section of the PVC, and then I'm able to put the aluminum pipe right up inside of there to join the head. And as it's cooling, it just kind of joins to the metal, so it doesn't move around, it doesn't come off. But if you use the heat gun to heat it up, you could adjust that some more. Then I've made the lip plate. It's kind of hard to see here. There we go. I made a lip plate with a 5/16 embouchure. 5/16 is a little bit small. Most of my large bore flutes come with a 3/8 inch embouchure. Some people even make them with a like a .4375, which I'm not exactly. Anyway, so larger than the 3/8, a half-inch embouchure. But the smaller the diameter, like this half-inch tubing, a smaller embouchure seems to work better to get the volume, or to get the clear notes up into the second octave. The lip plate allows you to have good volume in the lower octaves. So it really doesn't cost a lot to make a flute like this if you have the tools. Now, what tools did I use to make this flute? Well, I used a kind of a multi-bit for the holes. That's one of those drill bits that's kind of cone shaped, and it steps down. So once you start drilling, you can drill one hole and drill a little bit farther, and it widens out as it goes. And I used that same drill bit to drill all of the holes for this flute. I used the same drill bit to drill the hole for the embouchure. I used a skill saw to cut out the piece for the lip plate, and then I used a buffing wheel to get everything nice and shiny. Then I used, of course, the heat gun, but you could use acetone. You could probably even use a hair blower, a hair dryer on the high setting. If you didn't have a heat gun, it might not heat up as fast, but I don't see why that wouldn't work. Then to do the etching, that maybe is a little bit more expensive. I used one of those vinyl cutting machines that I have to cut out the design. But if you're handy enough, you could cut out your own design in the vinyl. All you're basically doing is need something to etch to mask the area that you don't want to etch. But if you didn't want to mask it and you just wanted to have an aluminum flute, you could do the same thing. I use, starting at 120 grit sandpaper, I work all the way up to 800 grit, but that leaves those nice lines for the brushed finish. And then I use, again, the buffing wheel with some metal buffing compound to buff the flute to a polished setting. And then I also use the same thing to buff the head of the flute. So all in all, I think probably you could make this flute a 5-foot section of half-inch aluminum right now in our area at one of the big box stores is about $10. And this is this is just shy of 2 feet of that aluminum. So you do the math. And then this is basically a 6 to 7 inch section of PVC. So very small initial outlaying of materials cost, and then some work. Really the hardest part is just getting the aluminum nice and cleaned up and polished, because it comes pretty nasty looking right directly from the store. But afterwards, you have a nice flute that'll last a long time. So how does it sound? That's the question. All right, well, let me give you an idea of the scale. This is a harmonic minor scale, again, relative tuned to itself. This is the root note. Of course, it goes up into the second octave. Sorry if that got a little shrill there on the top. It's important with these 5/16 to keep a well-controlled embouchure. But again, 2 full octaves and just all kinds of fun. For really, if you're able to make this yourself, just a few bucks in material and a few hours of your time. So that's a weekend project for you, and you can do that. Of course, I'm always willing to sell you a flute. This flute, for example, is up right now on our Etsy store, but it's not for a few dollars. My time is valuable as well, but I wanted to let you know what it's made out of, so if you wanted to, you could make your own. And probably a weekend project, or if you work on the weekends, just an hour or two after work each day, and you could have a flute very similar to this. And the sky's the limit for your imagination when it comes to the etching or the design of it, the color of the PVC. But I think it's a cool flute. I'm interested to know what you think about it, but I wanted to let you know how easy it is to get what I would not be ashamed to play out in public, an instrument for just a few bucks of common materials. So anyway, that's my spiel for today. I hope you guys have a great day. Let me know if I can help you in any way. Leave me a comment and I'll respond just as soon as I can. Have a great day, guys.